Okay, today we're going to talk about parallelograms. Let's see if I can write today. Okay, so parallelograms are quadrilaterals with opposite sides parallel. Opposite sides are parallel. Okay, now it looks like this. We've got this parallel to that, and this parallel to that. Okay, so now there are some theorems that go along with parallelograms. We're not going to prove those today. We're going to we'll shorten this up a little. So a couple of the theorems are, the first one is that it's called the parallel opposite sides theorem. Boy, this writing is not very good. And the parallel opposite sides theorem says if it's a parallelogram, so if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, and I'm just going to shorten up parallelogram to parallelogram. So parallelogram, then opposite sides are congruent. So if I give you this parallelogram, ABCD, I tell you this parallelogram by having opposite sides parallel, then you can say that BC is congruent to AD and AB is congruent to CD by the parallel opposite sides theorem. Now the second theorem is the parallelogram opposite angles theorem. And the parallel opposite angles theorem, a lot like the parallel opposite sides theorem, says that if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then opposite sides not sides, it's angles, are congruent. So we'll go back to our parallelogram here. We know it's parallelogram. We can say that opposite angles are congruent by the parallelogram opposite angles theorem. Okay, the third of our four theorems today, the parallelogram consecutive angles theorem. Okay, parallelogram consecutive angles theorem says if it's a parallelogram, then consecutive angles Oh, I didn't make it very well there. Okay. That doesn't want to erase. Let's try this. There we go. Okay. So then consecutive angles are supplementary. Now, this is going to make sense because it's a parallelogram. And so if AB is parallel to CD and BC is parallel to AD, well then if BC is parallel to AD, then these angles are same side interior, so they're going to be supplementary. And if AB is parallel to CD, then angle B and angle C are same side interior, so they're supplementary. So consecutive angles all the way around the parallelogram are going to be supplementary. Okay, our fourth and final theorem for today is the parallelogram diagonals theorem. Okay, sorry for my writing today. This is a new whiteboard program that I'm using, and it's a little bit different. So, if it's a parallelogram, then diagonals bisect each other. Here's our parallelogram. And here are our diagonals. So we'll call this point E. So BE and ED are going to be cut in half or be congruent, and AE and EC are going to be congruent. So the diagonals bisect each other.